This is no time to enjoy the battle, Vildor finally thinks. The unexploded split body has been recovered quickly. So, there was not much energy drain. He still has energy. If he fights at this pace, the recovery rate of the Magicule is faster than that of the split body. But it is the same for Dagruel. Half-hearted attacks would be meaningless to each other. He understood that and he felt it firsthand. However, it was not possible to make a big move out of the blue. Since they cannot expect their opponents to let their guard down, they need to create an opening somehow. Just like Huzashi in Judo, it is important to secure your own advantage first. It was a fool's errand to put forth one's best effort in the preliminaries. Storm Dragon and God of Destruction were evenly matched, and the one who was too hasty would be defeated. But, however, Vildor ignored all such theories and launched an attack on Dagruel. Quahaha. Let's go, Wingblade. Vildor created several clones. Unlike the split body, they are not able to synchronize their consciousness and act freely. However, they have been ordered to act in advance, so that they are as powerful as the real clone. The clone swarms around Dagruel in ultra-high-speed flight. Their wings were vibrating, turning into high-frequency blades. The vibrations of the two pairs of wings, one large and one small, create a blade world of death that cuts through molecular bonds. But Dagruel is not panicked. Damn, he still can't read. He said, but took appropriate actions on the spot. In other words, a sword to the blade. Instead of Dagruel, Glassard's face, which had been on the side, turned to the front. Then, he held up the greatsword with both hands, and gave a flash of his spirit. Nope. Dagruel, Glassard, swatted away Vildor's clones like a fly. Even the continuous attack of the Blade of Death by multiple clones was just an annoying child's play to Dagruel. The top speed of the sword, which is now more than 10 meters long, easily surpasses the speed of sound, as befits a giant god. With the level of Glassard, who was a master of the sword, an invisible gap, absolute offensive and defensive sword area, was already formed. As soon as they entered the absolute offensive and defensive sword zone, Vildor's clone was destroyed. Without any success, all of the Vildors were intercepted. Dagruel did not slow down his attack. Fen's face turned to the front. Bind the chains. In Fen's hand was the Gleipnir, which binds even the gods. With it, he tried to capture Vildor. Fen releases a chain, which binds Vildor in dragon mode. Several clones disappeared, leaving only the bound Vildor. Too bad, Vildor, you tried to deceive me, but to no avail. It is easy for my true eye to see through your true nature. Dagruel's true eye had found the one with the largest amount of energy among several clones without any difficulty. No matter how many imposters Vildor produced, they were meaningless in front of the true eye. Vildor, bound with chains, vanished in a black mist. Immediately after that, a cheerful voice, not unlike those on the battlefield, echoes out. Alas, it was my imposter. Vildor shouted in a mocking manner, trying to rouse Dagruel. Dagruel was annoyed and surprised at the same time, because he had been so easily fooled by the true eye. Really? You have deceived my eyes, haven't you? Isn't it amazing? What kind of trick did you do? Dagruel, there's a difference between you and me. Vildor said with a smug look on his face that sounded like a sound effect. Vildor was beginning to get a bit carried away, though there was no such a big difference. Even if you unleash your true power, you can't beat me. There's a reason why you can't win. Vildor blurts out some mysterious statement at random. Although there is no solid basis for this statement, Dagruel is deceived. Dagruel is feared as the incarnation of tyranny, but he is an honest man at heart. This was evident in the fact that Dagruel had the strongest personality of all the members of the Octagram. The reason why I can't win, you say. You're right. I'm growing up too. I don't want you to think I'm the same as before. They should be thrilled that he's letting his guard down. However, they did not do so, and that is why Vildor is Vildor. Vildor dodged Dagruel's question. However, Vildor really believes that he can beat Dagruel, because he has grown up and gained new authority. He can't explain more than that. Therefore, it is not certain, but for Dagruel, who does not know it, it is like a smoke screen. Incidentally, the way Vildor misrepresented the true eye. Normally, it is impossible to deceive the true eye. The trick that made it possible was in the power of Vildor's ultimate skill Chaos King Nyarlathotep, probability manipulation. Vildor changed the probability of his existence and switched the body and the clone in an instant. It was a kind of fraud. However, if parallel existence, probability manipulation, and even space-time manipulation, you can surely fool any analyze and assess authority. It is one of Vildor's hidden gems, useful in every situation. Vildor, as he boasted himself, had acquired a different kind of strength than in the past. Not only by the visible measure of magicule quantity, but also by daily effort. It seems that he is always playing, but he is also training. For this reason, he instinctively knows how to use his powers, even if he does not understand the detailed principles of his powers. Vildor thinks that this is not a problem, even though he cannot explain it in words. Therefore, he could not explain it even if he wanted to. On the other hand, if he had understood it, he would have explained it proudly. It was fortunate for Vildor that he did not do so. Even Dagruel did not expect an answer. He did not mind and continued. I don't know what you are talking about in your sleep, but it seems to be true that you are growing up. Certainly, you are not the same as you used to be. In the past, Vildor was just a forceful fighter. Now, however, he fights with his head. He is using his authority to gain an advantage in the battle against Dagruel. Dagruel praises him, saying that he should admit this. However, this did not mean that he admitted defeat. While conversing, Dagruel creates a favorable situation for himself. This is also one of the skills of combat. Even a man as strong as Dagruel did not disregard the art of small tricks. Rather, they believe that it is important to gain even a slight advantage through such small tricks. Dagruel's goal was one from the beginning. Instead of building up small moves like Vildor, Dagruel is trying to win the game at once with a big move. Your power is real. Then I will finish you with my strongest move. Dagruel silently grasps the space and expands the range of the interference wave. After checking the interior of the space with his true eye, and confirming that Vildor's clone was not hiding in the space, he cut off the dimensions and formed an isolated space. In the isolated space, only Vildor and Dagruel existed. What? Vildor notices something unusual. But it is already too late. I've got you, Vildor. Now is the time to break the karma. Destroy. Quasar break. Dagruel's Quasar break filled the cut-off space without any space between the two. A tremor shook the space. Starting from Dagruel, an invisible super space-time vibration wave was generated. As they filled the interior of the space, irreversible destructive interference waves were generated. The space, which had been compressed by the containment of expansion, was screaming. This was the destructive absorption ray that Dagruel had created by consuming 60% of his own energy. Dagruel transformed itself into a pseudo-black hole, destroying and engulfing all the matter inside the space at will. The friction created by the creaking of the space caused a dazzling light to flood out from beyond the separated dimensions. It is a fantastic and terrifying sight. If subjected to the interference of this overwhelmingly high density of energy, any life form would not be able to survive. It will only be decomposed and become food for Dagruel. Ha ha ha. You are so proud of yourself, Vildor. Even if you can't see the main body, you can just eliminate all of its multiple alter egos at the same time. Dagruel laughs. This technique, which combines offense and defense, is an excellent technique for recovering energy at the same time. However, most of the energy absorbed is used to maintain his own existence, which is depleted by this technique. Otherwise, Dagruel himself would be blown away. Quasar break generates unimaginably huge energy through repeated expansion and compression. It is a dangerous technique that could be a double-edged sword for Dagruel if it is not controlled properly. Of course, it is a means of attack for insta-kill, which cannot be used continuously, and victory is guaranteed as soon as it is used. Vildor's plan was brilliant, but it would be powerless in the face of absolute violence. Dagruel was confident that he had defeated Vildor and was ready to see the result. The damage caused by the Quasar break had destroyed the isolated dimensional space. Dagruel absorbed the damage and returned to its original dimension. They could see that the space was distorted only by the remnants of the powerful energy flow. This will harmonize with the passage of time, assimilate with its surroundings, and return to its original state, but it was indescribable as a mark of extreme destruction. Just by looking at this, they can understand how dangerous this technique is. There is no one in the world who could withstand such an attack. Vildor must have collapsed into existence together with him, and it was thought that they were caught up in the dimensional collapse and disappeared together. If it is a true dragon, it might be resurrected sooner or later. However, there is no future in which Vildor will be resurrected, and the winner here is Dagruel. As it should be, however, a cheerful voice echoed on the battlefield. That was a close one, wasn't it? Dagruel's eyes widened in shock. He doubted his own ears, thinking he must be hearing things. But, you idiot. You ate it and you're still alive. Dagruel exclaimed in surprise. The Quasar break had not been used against Veldanava either. It is a trump card that Dagruel is now able to use only because he has grown up, since he could not control it before. It was the most powerful technique he had ever used with the intention of completely annihilating Vildor. It was natural that Dagruel was upset. A direct hit would surely annihilate him. There was no escape because of the limited space. It was impossible to imagine that Vildor would be safe in such a situation. However, Vildor has survived in this way. What the hell did you do? This is nothing to me. This is the end of his patience. On closer inspection, Vildor is not alright. His two pairs of wings, one large and one small, are battered and bruised, and a black mist is rising from his body. The magicule has begun to leak out because it does not have enough energy to sustain its existence. This was a fatal symptom for a spiritual life form, which is often the case with demons and other such creatures. In fact, Vildor was almost dead. By making full use of probability manipulation of the ultimate skill Chaos King Nyarlathotep, he was able to reduce the probability of his existence to the utmost limit. By making use of the ultimate skill probability manipulation, he could barely escape from the interference waves of destructive energy. By allowing it to pass through his own body, he was able to avoid the energy wave of destruction. However, he was not unharmed. All of the clones were obliterated, and the body was also damaged by the interference wave. How terrible was the Quasar break that Vildor, the true dragon, could be driven into such a corner. At least, the old Vildor would have been destroyed for sure. Then, let's take another hit, shall we? What? Even though Vildor knew that this was a threat, he was still a little scared. Thus, Dagruel is defeated. Vildor is wounded. Both players cannot make a move too rashly, since a bad move would result in a loss. The two players start to glare at each other, trying to think of their next move. Vildor thinks, this is not good. Since he couldn't avoid the attack completely, he was sure to get hit next time. But there would be no next time, he thought. Vildor was wounded, but so was Dagruel. Although they were superficially unscathed, they must have lost a lot of energy. The question was, then, which one was more worn out or depleted? What would happen if the actual conditions were compared? Vildor checks the current state of himself. Although magicules are leaking from the surface of the body, they are intentionally left untreated. Vildor has been trained in the labyrinth, and he has become a surprisingly cunning person. The Quasar break had caused more damage than expected, but it was not fatal. The damage was not fatal, but it was made to look severe, so that Dagruel would not notice it. He has taken into account the loss of energy from Xian and Luminous at the beginning. The remaining energy is about less than 50% of the current level. We have lost a lot of energy. But as calculated, Dagruel and Vildor were almost equal. Dagruel has an estimated existence value of over 110 million, while Vildor has an estimated existence value of less than 90 million. Although it seems that Vildor is the stronger player, thanks to his ultimate skill Chaos King Nyarlathotep, Vildor seems to be the stronger player. Still, Vildor lacked decisiveness. No matter what moves they tried, it was difficult to penetrate Dagruel's unbeatable durability. How could Dagruel deplete his remaining energy, so that he could directly hit the opponent with his own techniques? It would not be an exaggeration to say that the outcome of the game depended on this. Therefore, Vildor thought that it was necessary to exhaust Dagruel at any cost. So far, Vildor's calculation is correct. The reason why they attacked without following the theory was to induce Dagruel's pride. By alerting Vildor's authority, he made Vildor think that Vildor wanted to play an endurance war using his brains. If that happened, Dagruel was sure to make a big move that would push Vildor out of the game. It turned out to be true. Dagruel made a big move and wore him out. According to Vildor's estimation, the amount of energy had been reduced to the same or less than his current level. That is correct.